Good evening and welcome everyone to Gentlemen's Racing Club's Division 1 Series event here on PSR TV. You're joined today by me, Simon Smith, and also alongside us in the commentary booth will be Marco van den Broeck. And we're here for the Ultranet Network's Division 1 Round 7 of the Championship here at Trois Riveries, the penultimate round of the GRC series. And just before we get started today, I'd like to dedicate tonight's racing out to Robert Giuliano, who is the father of one of our much well-respected and one of the most favoured drivers in our field, Scott Giuliano, who unfortunately his father passed away last Friday, and we'd like to dedicate tonight's racing to him. And I'd like to wish everyone the very best of luck for today and put on a good show for Scott, who's bravely decided to come out here to race. Just with 2 rounds to go, and the championship is all hot and up and ready to go. And I think today, Marco, we're in for a very good race.
Yes, Simon. Well, to be honest, this track is just like the Monaco circuit. Tight, grabby, and lots of corners. Lots of difficult corners to handle. So, either you're on the racing line in a good way, you're on a racing line on a slow way, or you're in the wall. That's everything.
Yeah, but it's going to be one of those tracks that's going to produce some thrills and spills. As we look to the championship, just before we get underway for qualifying, just so that you can see exactly where everyone is, we have Jack Keithley, currently our top man of the slots. He has won 3 of the 12 races so far this series, and is sitting pretty on 314 points. Jeffrey Rusker second on 296. Evelyn Glacius third with 256. And they're really the only 3 that are mathematically in with a shot of the championship. Martin Palm has an extreme outside chance, but it will be very extreme indeed. And then you can see just further down the order there, Scott Giuliano down in 8th with 152, racing on for his father's memory this evening. We're just going to be moving forward to qualification, and this will be the first of 2 races that you'll have this evening here on the PSR TV for the Ultranet Network's Division 1 League. First will be a 21-lap race of a sprint variety, which will not feature pit stops, and you can just basically go hell for leather. We'll be joining the qualifying for that very shortly, and then you'll have a quick break, followed by a second qualification and a feature race, which will include a mandatory pit stop and 42 laps of that, or 40 minutes, whichever one comes first. So we're going to be moving forward to qualifying just now, and let's pop down to the track and see who's out and about. And I think we can join 4th placed Evelyn Glacius to show us our first look at the Trois Riveries circuit over in Canada. So you're not a fan of this track, Marco?
Well, I actually am, to be honest, because it does have the same kind of feeling when you get around it as Monaco. It's just like, I got it, and when you get a fast lap around it, you're saying like, I got it, I did it, and when you finish the race, you say the same. So, yeah, it's a quite interesting track, a quite hard one, and a quite good one to make profit of it if things go bad on other people.
Definitely indeed. As Evelyn Glacius crosses the start-finish line, let's follow him round on a lap of this circuit in Canada, and there you can see exactly just into turn 1 how perilous all of these barriers are. You're basically aiming for them, because they basically jut out on the apexes, and you can see Glacius rubbing walls left, right and centre down into 3, and that's particularly hairy, and you can see he's lost the back end, and that will lose him time all the way down the back straights. It does remind me of Monaco. It also reminds me of Valencia, but just like a mini-me version. Because you've got these very tight corners followed by straights. It's designed quite well for potentially overtaking if you dare, but because the radiuses of the corners are so small, you can't really get in and get into the meaty stuff. Both drivers have to be committed. So far, Glacius looks like he's on for the provisional pole at the moment, just due to the fact that he's one of the first guys out. A little bit wide there, and onto the outside of the curb. That should be deemed just about legal. and then round into this last couple of corners, which you kind of ignore where you think the track should be. Hop over the curb and over the line, and let's see what Iglesias pops it into. It will be a provisional pole, and it's a 1 minute 7.665, and that's quite high up on the pace. And he's been a general front runner most of the series, and that's a good effort there for even Iglesias. We should pop down to 8th place actually. Ninth place now. Alex Sorchuk, now down to 10 in his Lexus. He's been looking pretty nifty round here. Martin Palms just slipped into 2nd, with Pablo Martinez just stealing that away from him. The 2nd man into the 107s, and Sorchuk there running very wide. And he's got a lot of traffic up ahead of him as well. Stacey Greenshaw and Daniel Beck.
Sorry to say, he made a mistake there in the last corner. It's cost him quite a lot of time, I guess.
It does, and that will have cost him the pole position. Yeah, he's gone in with a 1:07.779. Been relatively quick on the place here, Alex Sorchuk. We've not necessarily seen him at the front of the field, but just where the different weights penalties for people that have won races and done particularly well beforehand have all kicked in, it's basically left Alex Sorchuk as one of the people that's there to pick things out. Stacey Greenstall down in 12th place in the KR3W racing car is on a rather nifty lap, and he was 2nd in free practice just before you go join the broadcast, and that means Stacey means business. Beans Hines for Stacey Greensall, and someone has just been disqualified. That's Pablo Martinez there, so obviously not realising that he's gone through to do laps. That's not good at all for Pablo Martinez. And Stacey Greensall into the final corner. Ooh, a little bit wiggly on the exit. Over the line he doth go. Will this be pole position? No, it will not, by 0.34 of a second. Fantastic lap there by Stacey, once again asserting himself as a potential front runner for today's action.
As well, Jack Keithley is warming himself up for a hot lap championship leader there. I guess we can follow him.
He's down in P11.
Yes, that's for the. So let's see, coming out of the last few corners there.
Certainly is. Just while you're watching that, actually, Jack Nichols has lost connection to the server, so he won't be able to post a time at all. So that's not the best start for our Division 2 commentator extraordinaire. And let's see what Jack Keithley can make with it. He'll be heavy with a lot of ballast, I'm quite sure, as Priyat Valja pops in 11th as the slowest time. He's just hoping for a finish today, he told me. And Keithley taking nice steady lines. He's been one of the people that's been able to still pulling out all of these different results, and that's why he's still the championship leader quite comprehensively. Of course, one DNF and
0.069, Simon.
Yeah, very much on the pace indeed as he breaks down the end of the back straight. But he's one of those people that does seem to be able to carry the weight with him and not have it affect his performance particularly much. And that is key for GRC. And let's see how he takes the final sector, Marco.
Yes, indeed. As the last line goes by, well, he makes a mistake there. He breaks very late on that turn. On to the last turn. Make sure you don't cut. There it is. High over the gutters there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not a pole position.
Not at all. It's full position for Jack Keithley in the DHR Simcraft. Just 0.3 of a second off, and that's not a bad effort. This is one of the places where your weight will not hurt you quite as badly as everyone else. Let's see who is actually out on a chap. Scott Giuliano didn't complete a time, so that's not been the best start for him. Ivan Pons down in 17th position is just getting ready to start his hot lap. He's not raced all the races so far this season, but he was mighty fast when he was last out. And Jack Nichols had a crash to desktop, so that's not very good. I have to say I've been having a bit of trouble with this track as well, so it's not boding well for me next week, as Ivan Pons is off and about.
Down in 16th place, however, we have Jeffrey Ruskus driving a lap time. Just if you are interested for that.
Yeah, let's switch to Jeffrey actually, if we can, please, Mr. Cameraman Extraordinaire, because he is our other big championship rivalaroo, and he's just popped down the down the back straight again. A lot of people taking this wider line and riding the curb. It obviously must give you a much better exit speed.
Yeah, actually, the rules say that you can hit the concrete wall. You can of course hit the concrete wall. It's legal, of course, but.
I wouldn't advise it though.
Yeah, that's what I want to say. But you can actually drive over the concrete type of road there on the right side, just as long as you don't cut it with 4 wheels. Just see the concrete as one big line. I think that's fair to say.
Okay, that just leaves Randu Muru down in 18th position as our last man to complete a lap. He is a teammate of mine, so I shall be quietly cheering him on, not being biased at all, but I just hope everyone else crashes and Randu wins. However, he is not doing too badly on his hot lap at the moment, so we shall see where that puts him up. But currently pole position is still being held, was held now by Even Pons, so by 28 thousandths of a second from Even and Glacier. Stacey Greenstall currently sitting in 3rd, and Randy Muru has been quite fluctuant on his form. Sometimes he's up the top, sometimes he's right down the bottom, but one thing's for sure, we know Randy will give it his best. His brother Reno, is not here this week, so it's just the one Muru. And let's see what he makes of this final sector, drifting out of the final that turn there. That won't be the quickest way. Misses the curbs and over the line. Where does this pop him into as qualifying draws to a close? Oh, hello, pole position. Well done, Randy. I don't have lifetime screening, so everything's a surprise for me. Oh, the excitement. Grab me an ice cream, it's too much.
Yeah, it was actually down. He was actually down the first 2 sectors, so I didn't worry too much. But
well, Randy Murray there grabs his first pole position in GRC Season 8, I believe, by 3/10 of a second as well, so that was quite convincing. Even Pons will start alongside, and that's his best qualifying position of his season as well, if not his career, actually, as Even Iglesias just left the server. He was 3rd on the grid. Stacey Greenstall was 4th, followed by Jeffrey Ruskus, Alex Sorchuk, Jack Keithley, Martin Palm, Marcos Rodriguez, and Raul Pons will round out the top 10. We'll go through the rest of the grid when we take you round on the actual formation lap itself. Alex Sorchuk saying he actually cocked up his last sector, and that is what cost him his pole. So a lot of people will probably be kicking themselves. It's really, you get it right or you get it wrong and it's all over.
Yeah, I do wonder how much of wall banging there's been going around through these hard laps. It's actually quite interesting to see these cars. Of course, it's not a Formula 1 car. You'd expect of Monaco and a Formula 1. When you hit the wall, your tire is crushed. You can't go anywhere anymore. But with these touring cars, I would actually want to hit the wall because it helps your traction on the coming out of it. So it actually puts your car straight on it. Though it does some damage, but in the end, if you touch it the right way, it will help you eventually.
I will let you get on with the various wall bashing. I'll just quietly go around and pick up the points when everyone else pops it out. There will be 20 drivers by the looks of it lining up, if not 21, if someone gets back into the server quite quickly. And that means that potentially everyone will score, only 1 or 2 people will struggle. I imagine attrition will be relatively high here. The pit entry is quite interesting into here as well, because you take slightly different lines off of the racetrack compared to other people, and the pit lane is very, very tight in terms of grid boxes, and if you get boxed in, that could cause a problem as well. So all kinds of little situations here on the penultimate round. Don't forget, next week you've got Division 2's race, where your commentary trio for this evening, Gary Gray on cameras, Marco van den Broek adding random bits and bobs, and me just talking dribble, will all be out racing for who can crash it out the best probably in the wall. And
as I just wanted to say, Simon, it's usually just a bit more wall bashing on these tracks as Division 1, so I guess it would be a very interesting race if you want to see wall bangs.
Well, I'd rather bash a wall than bash a bishop. So let's move on from that, and they will be next Monday, and then the following Monday we'll be back with these Division 1 guys for the grand finale of Season 8, and that will be at a certain Watkins Glen. So a nice fast flowing circuit to end off the season with, and quite a favourite it looks like with the GRC drivers, and something that everyone kind of calls a little bit of home.
Yeah, actually I love the track, if I might say that. Actually just, if you're on the lead and if you're in a big lead, you can just cruise around where you have these nice big flowing corners, so you can actually cruise home and take the championship if you're on a lead high enough in the championship.
Yeah, and potentially the championship can be, I think, decided here, or all but decided here. You've got Jeffrey Ruskus on a certain 296, Jack Keithley on a 314, and if Jeffrey Ruskus plumps out of both events, which it can be quite easily conceived with round one of these tight twisty circuits, and Jack Keithley gets 80 points, which is what you can get for winning both the sprint race and the feature race, and getting fastest laps and things like that. You'll get extra little bonus goodies, and we all know pets win prizes. That will pretty much end any chance at all for Jeffrey Ruskus getting the championship over Jack Keithley. Ruskus needs to basically close or keep within about 10 places on each race to keep the championship alive for him. Even Iglesias basically has to pray that Keithley and Ruskus fail to finish either of the events today, and he takes the checkered flag on both to enable him to stay in the race.
Yeah, very interesting there. Yeah, we're very interested to see what's going to happen there in terms of championship. Surely here it can happen a lot on this track, because you never know on these street circuits what's going to happen.
Indeed, my dark horse for the day is going to be Preet Voucher, who has been busy on the server the entire time I've been there in the evening, screaming, "I'm no fast, I'm no fast, I'm going to be lapped a million times," and now he's just gone, "Oh rubbish, I've done my personal best and it's not qualifying." So Preet Voucher has kept me rather amused most of the evening, so 2 thumbs up for him. I shall wish him the very best indeed. So we're just coming to the end of warm-up, and then we shall switch to the race. Remember, it's either 21 laps or 20 minutes, and 20 minutes will come up first, I'm quite sure with that actually. We'll have one formation lap, we'll take you through the grid. Damage is at 100% here, oh god. And remember, you're only allowed the auto clutch as well, so I can imagine there being quite a few problems here as well. Overtaking won't be at a premium.
Yeah,
so
if you need some extra or spare bumper for next week, oh yeah, they don't fit on a Skoda, does it? Oh, yeah, crap.
Nothing fits on a Skoda. Nothing works with a Skoda. The car in front is certainly not a Skoda either. There'll be plenty of spare parts in our crash garage that's going on. But yeah, that could be quite a good idea actually. If we quickly run out after the race and pick up all the spare bits of car that's laying on the track, we can just put them round our own, and then that gives us a few chances of getting it all wrong, and we can quietly come home 18th, 19th and 20th and yoink some points. I like that.
Well, I'm actually thinking you're better off with a rear-wheel drive here, so if you put your car on the grid backwards, it would work, no? You would have a rear-wheel drive car and a rear engine.
Oh, as long as there's wheels on it, it will do. So here we go.
Attention, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Thank you, Mr. rFactor. Woo! We're moving forward to the race. No more of our trash, and we shall take you through the grid order. do it quite quickly because it's a relatively short lap here around Trois Riveries. I shall try and roll that as many times as I can. Oh, no I won't. I've lost connection. And so has everyone. Well, that's a bit rubbish.
I have as
Never
well.
mind.
See if you like. Oops. What has
Well,
happened here?
I blame the Spanish weather. It seems like Spanish weather. The English sunny weather. It was all going a bit too well for our liking, so something had to go wrong. And obviously, someone wants to watch the England game of football as well. So there's been some sabotage.
Oh well. We can always, yeah. We can always talk around the problems, can't we?
Marco, you can talk around everything.
Oh.
But we love you.
That's
Really.
good.
It was spent with love and kindness, and the only kind of man love that is legal. But let's just... What should we do? We'll have a little quick rundown of the championship order behind the top 10, actually. Just very quickly, while we get the server re-sorted out for you. And if we're still boring you after that, then we'll pop to a break and pop on some music instead. Behind the top 4 that I mentioned, you've got Emmanuel Gagzella, who's not here today, in 5th. Eduardo Cañada, who is here this weekend, in 6th, so that will be prime pickings for him. Stacey Greensaw, who is do so well in qualifying, is 7th in the championship with 163 points. Scott Giuliano, 8th. Daniel Beck, 9th. He's been a silent assassin on that board, and he's only had one podium, and but he's got 7 top 10 finishes, and that's where his points have counted. And Moses Rundon won one race, but only raced in 4 of the actual rounds so far, is equal 10th with Mohammed Patel on 122 points. Behind them, you've got Jorge Izquierdo, who's gone a bit AWOL. We've not seen him for a little bit. Nico Jokinen. Randy Muru, our pole sitter, has only got 101 points and is down in equal 14th with Pablo Martinez. So that shows just how mixed up this grid is going to be. With Danny Lubbers in 16th. He is here this weekend. Or this week, rather. Mark Wrightston is
non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
17th with 95 points. Mark Jones, even Pons, who is our outside pole sitter, down in 19th. And Alex Sorchuk, our trusty admin, rounds out the top 20 of that. So plenty of action. The server is just rejoining, so we may be put out of your misery quite soon.
No, I didn't find the server yet. I didn't do the trouble yet to press the refresh button, so I'll just try that now.
Okay, so any predictions for this race, Marco?
One worst or 2 worsts? 1 or 2? It's up to you. Well, if it's 1 word, then it would be carnage. If it would be 2, it would be total carnage.
I like it. I like it a lot. So we shall be dishing out ratings actually on people's crashes today. Marks out of 10.
I was actually gonna. Maybe we should propose for this street circuit race for like the best smack at the wall gets a point or something like that.
We could have the Eurovision edition as well, actually. Eurovision's on Saturday. Excitement.
Oh yes, that's tomorrow, isn't it?
You can't beat a bit of awful Eurovision. If Trois Riveries was a Eurovision entry, it would be Hungary or Bulgaria, because it's one of those countries that produces songs. You just think, what the hell? but you just want to listen to it anyway. And this track's a bit like that, because you think, what on earth am I doing racing around this track? However, you still do it, because you just think, what on earth? Server is back up. We're just getting everyone back into the server. We will be with you for some racing action here at GRC for Division 1 Ultranet Network.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Division 1 race, Mr. rFactor announcer getting his regular in. And we'll see exactly what's going to happen. Just to give you an update actually on the weights, 60 kilograms has been added to Jack Keithley, 47 to Inglesias, 43 to Ruskus, 23 to Palm, 22 to Giuliano, 16 to Gakzella, 9 to Kanyada, 7 to Greensall, and just 2 to Even Pons. So the equivalent of a small anorexic. But here's the grid. Brandon Muru currently on pole for Backmarker Brigade. Second on the grid will be Even Pons. He's an independent in the Lexus. Third on the grid is Even Inglesias for Kraken Motorsports. Fourth on the grid is KR3W. Oh, maybe not. KR3W Racing in the BMW.
Not again.
They've just restarted everyone because
everyone forgot the setups.
They forgot to put their setups on. So slap, botty, Alex Sorchuk.
That's why I assign setups lately. Just a hint to those guys.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
So, we shall kick off the rundown of the order from where we were, actually, just because we was up.
We weren't far
Mr.
anyway,
Cameraman.
so.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll go from the top, and then work your way down. I've been told that works a treat. That's all right. I've been told it works a treat. Randy Muru then on pole for Backmarker Brigade. Actually, that's good because I get to say that again. My own team on pole. It will never happen again. Second on the grid is Even Pons, an independent in the Lexus. Third will be Even Inglesias for Kraken Motorsports. He's top Cadillac. So BMW, Lexus, Cadillac. So a nice even spread of cars at the top. Fourth, Stacey Greensall for KR3W Racing in the BMW. Fifth on the grid for Jeffrey Ruskus for 05 Motorsports. He's in another Cadillac. And then, well, it is a free-for-all. Alex Sorchuk, sixth for Stigline Northern Ice in a Lexus. And then seventh, just to round it all off, is Pablo Martinez for Abu Dhabi Motorsports in a Volvo. 8, Jack Keithley in a BMW, with 9, Martin Palm. Jeffrey Ruskus has just left the server. That is a disconnection. That is not good at all. And that is going to have championship consequences, isn't it? Crikey. Then we continue down. Marcus Rodriguez then is promoted to 9th. Raul Pons up into 10, so both Pons are in the field today. Simon Meluish is 11. Eduardo Cunhada 12. Emmanuel Gakzella is 13. Laurent Evanessi is 14 in the ISI Racing for a BMW. 15 in the second DHR car is Danny Lubbers. 16 Daniel Beck for Adura Racing in another BMW. 17th Preet Bowger, my vote for most entertaining backmarker today. 18th is Mohammed Patel. 19th Scott Giuliano. 20 Jack Nichols. 21 Martin Jones in the Soul Astra. And that is your field currently at the moment. Marco, any last thoughts before we go to the flag?
Please, no top one trash.
No yellow flags, eh?
Oh, yeah, right. But that was yesterday.
Yes, if anyone doesn't know,
talk about that.
If anyone doesn't know, Marco accidentally put in a good result without meaning to. However, in the SimD 500.
Yeah,
however, we've got GRC racing just about to kick off, so we shall mention that in our little breaky poo afterwards. And here we go. The lights are on. 4 and 5. And we are racing here at Trois Riveries. And that's a good start by Even Pons down the outside. Random Muru goes to cover the line and retakes the lead in the exit of 2. Inglesias is 3. Martinez is 4. Everyone looks like they're relatively safely through turn 1. It's a little bit more clustered round turn 2, but the entire field has got round with Martin Jones getting up the rear. But up front it is Randy Murrow desperately trying to hold off even Pons, and Pons, if he's careful, will get into the slipstream, have a little lungelina down into the back turn, and Iglesias getting right in on the action too and nearly outbraking himself. Martinez clutching the barriers. Is everyone going to make it through? Looks like it. Very clean racing indeed by the field. Mohamed Patel losing out an awful lot of positions in the DHR down in 18. But it is as you were at the front. Randy Murray leads Even Pons from Even Iglesias, Pablo Martinez, Stacey Greenstall, Alex Sawchuk, Jack Keithley, Palm, Pons and Rodriguez round out your top 10 as they come to finish lap 1.
But already without front bumper, so that might be a little smack, I heard.
Yeah, he is looking a little bit wounded actually down the order into 20th position. He's dropped now as Scott Giuliano just dives around the back of him, and he's the only car that's really in damage. Everyone else, I think, is
making a mistake. Or was it Kenyatta? No, it was Iglesias.
Yep, third position, Even Iglesias there, very tardy out of the back straight corner. Has got Pablo Martinez having a little nose, thinking better of it though, and discretion is the best part of valour, and he shall have another go later on, I'm quite sure, just sizing himself up. With these type of circuits though, you really need to sit and kind of make sure that you are fresh on your opponent. It's all too easy to sit and just go line astern around lap after lap after lap. You need to kind of spring the surprise on and keep yourself fresh behind people so that they don't get used to exactly where you're better or worse than them, and then they predict exactly what you're up to. And that'd be the worst thing to be if you're predictable behind someone as a racing driver. Lap 2 complete. Randy Murray still leads by just half a second from Even Pons. There's a gap back to third Iglesias. Martinez is 4, Greenstall 5, Sawchuk 6, Keithley 7. It's a good run there by Jack Keithley, and with Jeffrey Ruskas out, this is all bonus points here for Jack Keithley. Palm, Brow Pons up to 9. Oh, yeah, Melowish down in 21st. Yep, 21st place, Simon Melowish there. I'm just going to see what happens. Oh, he loses it on the exit of turn 1 and is given a little help round actually by Manuel Gagzella. But Melowish was already in the middle of his own problems. He has got back going though again, albeit in 21st and last position currently at the moment. So back up front actually, we should take a quick look at the battle for the lead, because Even Pons is actually now starting to look quite racy behind Randy Murrow, and Pons actually looks like he's got the better race pace for this as they come across the line to start, or to complete lap 3, and Pons not exactly coming fourth as of yet, but the best chance is on the exit of turns 3 I believe it is, and then down the back straight. There's a battle for 6th and 5th position actually as well. We should pop to that. Stacey Greenstall has got Alex Sawchuk and Jack Keithley all over it. Sawchuk and Greenstall were side by side, and they've kind of cooled off a little bit now, and it's going to be very much a opportunistic find of the place to pass. There's just behind them Martin Palm and Rao Pons are getting a little bit feisty, and this little gaggle of cars providing much entertainment here.
Yes, indeed, as well. Once Pons and Murrow go battling each other, they will lose time. If they battle too long, will cause Iglesias to get back up again. So, if I were Pons, I would try to stay behind him. Just make sure, just in the last couple of laps, or maybe to the end of the race, or to the last part of the race, make sure you can get in front of them, or just keep it in his rear. Come and look, just regularly. Come and look. Try to look like you're making an overtake position, and then actually trying to get Ruando in a mistake, so he can pass him very easily. So, because this is of course a street circuit, and it won't be easy to overtake here.
It isn't indeed. Back to the battle for 5th and 6th position though. Stacey Greenstall is desperately trying to hold off Alex Sorchuk, with Jack Keithley and Martin Palm having their own battle behind. Behind them in 9th and 10th place, down into turn 1 on lap 5 there. Raul Pons ran wide and Marcos Rodriguez has dived back through. So the two Tomencho racing cars have swapped positions. Also, Mohammed Patel has passed Preet Bowger for 15th and 16th places. So there are little moves going on here and there, but they're all when other people have made mistakes, and you've just got to be there to capitalise when that happens. But Stacey Greensill in 5th position there has now put a small place of air between himself and Sorchuk. And if you make one small mistake, you're falling straight into the car behind, and you've really got to keep your one eye in front, one eye behind. You've got to look like some kind of Frankenstein monster to make sure that you can actually keep everything going and where you are. And Sorchuk's off. Sorchuk there just out-braking himself.
Even his no, what's close. Sorry there, Simon, but just trying to get past there, I guess. And he's out.
Yeah,
quite strange though.
Yeah, I'm just watching that on the replay, and Sorchuk, it's like he touches the inside wall but halfway round the corner, and it's very strange kind of way to have done it. It's because he's already through the corner, so he shouldn't really be crashing out, and maybe that camera just that barrier just juts out a little bit further than we can see. Scott Giuliano is in the pits as well, so he's obviously been in problems as well.
That barrier actually has, like, if you clip it to, just imagine it like if you come out of a pit box and you turn a little bit too early, it gives the same effect. You just slap it with your door, and yeah, that's just the thing that Alex did in my eyes. So yeah, pretty awkward to see that happen in a race, but yeah, and here it can happen. Also, a bit of wondering why he did escape there, because he could catch up quite a lot through the back.
Just also another retirement was Daniel Beck, who's just crashed out the previous lap. But and that is why Scott Giuliano is in the pits, because Daniel Beck kind of coming together with Jack Nichols. Daniel Beck spins onto the racing line and is taken clean out because it's on the blind corner by Scott Giuliano and possibly Preet Bowger as well, I think, was involved in that one as well, and Martin Jones. So all kinds of action kicking off up and down the field in little points. Lap 7 of 21, 40% race distance completed. Brandon Murray still leads by half a second from Evan Pons. Third is Evan Iglesias now all on his own. Pablo Martinez is holding up Stacey Greensill for 4 and 5. He's now got breathing space over Jack Keithley, who's got Raul Pons in 7th. Quite closely looking for comfort as they go over some debris. Raul Pons has repassed Marcos Rodriguez, so obviously both Pons have got real pace here today. I can hear more crashing going on off my screens though. Danny Lovers has worked his way up to 9th. Eduardo Cañada is into 10. Gakzella was 11, but Martin Palm has got past him somewhere. And Marcos Rodriguez there nearly spinning as well. Then further back you've got Laurent Evanessi in 13 all by himself. Mohammed Patel 14 looking very damaged. Simon Mellowish still going in 15th. He's overdue a good result. And then we've got a great battle for the wooden spoon positions of Preet Bowger, Jack Nichols and Martin Jones for 16, 17 and 18. And Scott Giuliano has retired. Obviously that was a head-on impact and he couldn't keep it going. Jack Nichols there.
No. Oh. Anyway.
He's definitely got better pace though than Preet Bowger, but it's just whether or not he can actually hold on and get a move through. And let's see, straight onto the slipstream. He can pull right out here for turn 1, but he chose to go down the outside, maybe to put him in the right position for turn 2 perhaps. And there you go, he does the switcheroo, but Bowger's there and he's going to push him wide for 2, and that will hold him the inside line for 3 as well. So Bowger there, fantastic recovery driving there, and Martin Jones getting right into the thick of the action. This might be for 16th, 17th and 18th positions, but they don't care. It's still going for real battles indeed. And here comes Nichols. Not that time by though. Pulls back inside. Ooh, his car's very skiddy, like a skiddy soap. coming out of that corner. Four-wheel drifts. Anyone would think that he was actually playing Mod Nation Racers or something through that corner, but he's really hustling the back of Preet Bowger. This is the closest duo actually out on track, along with Keithley and Pons over 6 and 7, but I find it quite interesting to be featuring these guys because these guys are at the back of the pack racing like they're racing for the win. Let's see what happens to them as they come down to one. Bowger holds the line once again. Oh, there's a front bumper. That looks ominous for somebody. And Nichols there once again struggling to find a way past the Torrent Motorsport driver. And there'll be... Ooh! That's quite aggressive there. Almost a little nudge to almost spin him off or get him off his axis one way or another. And Nichols is straight into the slipstream. Down the straight, what can he do? He pulls out to the left hand side. Is he going to have a lunge down into the corner? No, he does not. He pulls back inside again. He doesn't feel that he has the braking prowess over Bowger to make that stick. Either that or he's just thinking he's going to go sailing past and into those barriers. But
Kenyatta going sideways. Sorry there, I just switched to Kenyatta. You're just going sideways there. Almost collecting Rodriguez and Palm there. What is it, race? 9th race.
And Nichols has passed Preet Bowger over the 16th, 17th and 18th battle. Just while we was looking at that. So, we've still got 18 runners left on lap 11 we're on at the moment of 21. 60% of our time distance completed as well, so I think we're going to be going through time as opposed to laps. Brandon Murray has pulled out a 1.5 seconds advantage over even Pons now, and Pons is holding the distance between himself and Iglesias, who is pulling yonks away from Martinez in 4, Greensall 5 and Keithley 6.
We'll have to look at our championship leader in 6th place because Rowe Pons is all over the back of him. Just for a few corners already, so he's having problems getting his heavy car stopped there in front of the corners, I guess. As he gets attacked right now. No, can he hold it off? He can hold it off. He's at the inside line. He needs to get the line straight because Rowe has. Oh, and there's some smoke there from somebody else.
Yeah, Jack Keithley could ill afford to actually lose a complete result out of this because these are all bonus points because Jeffrey Ruskus disconnected. So if Raoul Pons is really going to hassle Keithley out of the position, I'd be inclined to let him go because Danny Lubbers is his teammate right behind him. He can act as a buffer for Jack Keithley and therefore be like a second guard reserve for Keithley if he needs it. But Raoul Pons there is looking rather racy indeed, as have both Pons today, I have to say. It's been a good showing by the brothers.
Maybe a little kind of evil tactic, because but if I was on team radio for Jack Keithley and Danny Lubbers, I would tell Danny, come the hell up in front. I'll slow down. I'll slow Raoul down if it needs to. You take him over and you block him. You just make sure you keep in front of Raoul as much as you can.
Drama down at P18. Mohammed Patel has spun off in the final corner. I'm just seeing, yeah, he's done it all on his own accord. He's spun before he even gets to the curb. He's clattered the inside wall. And then in avoidance action for Jack Nichols, he 360s when he comes around the corner and sees Patel in the middle of the track. Thankfully, the two don't collect each other. They've continued on. Mohammed Patel is now in the wall and out of the race down at turn 1. He had no turning at all in his DHR Apex car. That's our 5th retirement of the race. That leaves us with just 17 drivers remaining. Jack Nichols currently the last of those, 36 seconds down on the leader in the English Racing Knights Crusaders. Back to the battle for 6th then and 7th. Keithley still holding off Raoul Pons at the moment. Lubbers is coming under increasing pressure actually from Eduardo Kenyatta just behind, and they're well clear of Marcos Rodriguez in 10, who's also busy holding up Martin Palm. They're your best battles currently on track at the moment in the midfield. So plenty of action still here to come at Trois Riveries.
Oh, and I heard a wall bank there.
A bit like a horror movie, you can see it but you can't hear it, and I think it might have been even Iglesias in third position because his car... Oh no, it's not. It was showing without a bumper to me. Oh, it's Raoul Pons and Jack Keithley side by side in 6th and 7th positions, and Pons backs out of that.
Danny Levers clapped the wall.
He's still in it, down in 12th position. What has he been up to? He's slowly thinking of reversing. Oh, it's down at the end of... Well, that's bizarre. It's like he knew he'd outbraked himself down at the end of the back straight. So actually, he's done the right thing by just continuing on down the escape road, waiting for people to try and pass. He's gone to spin turn it and actually spun turn himself into the tyre barrier. That's such a Simon thing to do.
No, it was a corner earlier, I guess. Or a few corners earlier. And it was like... he'd gone off through turn 3. And there's a little wall coming towards the track there, but...
Iglesias is out. Sorry to interrupt you, Marco. Iglesias is disconnected, I think, because he's missing from my screens, and he's slipping down the order. He's now showing 10, but I can just see Daniel Beck's car in the pits, and he is DNF'd, left as server. Even Iglesias disconnection. We've seen a few of these, and Danny Lovers into the pits in 17th. Hopefully he'll get that car going again, because that's points in the bag, even if he just limps it home. But that's desperate luck there for Ethan Iglesias, now down to 16 runners and riders here at Trois Riveries.
I guess we either need fast forward, but our voices are...
Oh, there's a... Sorry, there's a massive smash. Voucher in 15th place. That is carnage everywhere for the Torrent Motorsports guy. I have a funny feeling that Laurent Evanessi was involved in that somewhere. Oh, Voucher lags out seriously, is in the wall, as is Evanessi, and for me at least anyway. And I think Martin Jones may have been caught up in that as well, even though he wasn't really involved. Voucher out of the race. Now we're down to 15.
I thought it was going to be carnage. I told you.
Marco, the psychic, telling us it would be total carnage. And Voucher, I did say that he would be entertaining, so at least he did pop it in the wall and cause us a giggle. So, it really is going to be a race of attrition.
What I was saying, we do need a fast forward button on our voices again, because too much happening there. Or we need to slow it down. Slow it really down.
So Jack Keithley then in 5th position has now not just got Raoul Pons behind him, but Eduardo Cunhada has been turning up his wick, and in 7th position he is now really hassling Raoul Pons, and as they come down into turn 1, Cunhada is practically joined onto the back of that Tomencho racing car. He's driving the Lexus, Cunhada's in the back, in the Cadillac, and in front of them Keithley's in a BMW. So 3 different makes of cars, 3 different teams, and 3 very different drivers with very different driving styles, all on the same piece of tarmac, excuse me while I hiccup, and none of them particularly gaining the advantage. Very interesting to see, and they're all stations as you are down into the tight left-hander. And I think we're going to have just one more lap remaining as Randy Muru comes across the line. I think we'll go the 100. We'll only get to lap 17 of this race as Randy Muru crosses over the line to start what will probably be his either...
Keithley again. Nope, he's not. And he's coming up. Cunhada. Oh, Cunhada make a mistake there.
Thank God that no one else... Thank God no one else is on that racing line. He was right slap bang.
Pons attacking Keithley. First corner. Second corner. He goes. Towards the third corner. Don't make a mistake there. Don't put the Champions League leader up there. You don't want to do that because you have a lot of stream for you there. And Keithley give stuff. Sorry, Sally.
No worries. That was all rather excitable.
Pons going
good
again.
Fun.
Pons going again outside turn 4. He does it.
Do well.
Does it?
Oh!
He flipped the wall.
That's what I call getting a body kit makeover, and thankfully both cars still going, but Pons gets the position on Keithley. However, we should cut to Randy Muru, who's about to cross the line for the win, and Randy Muru grabs a win for Backmarker Brigade, unofficial officials, and wins the sprint race there at Trois Riveries. Well done, Randy. Done your team, boss. Proud.
Congratulations on your side.
Thank you.
Great management. Great management.
Yes, well done, Randy. Even Pons there really hassled him all the way home and closed back down the gap to 0.8 of a second for second. Pablo Martinez then therefore picks up a very wily podium for third place, and he's very happy with that. Stacey Greensall, fourth, was unable to challenge Martinez in the end, although there was just 0.3 of a second separating them as they crossed the line. Raoul Pons did get fifth position in the end from Jack Keithley, despite shedding various pieces of cars in the process, but it was a good, nice, determined move there by Raoul Pons, and Jack Keithley, they're really doing the right thing and just leaning back to him in the end, because those were all bonus points for his championship. Seventh, Martin Palm for Digital Racing Team. Didn't see much of him, but he did get Kenyatta down into turn 1 when we saw Kenyatta spin. 8th then was Eduardo Kenyatta for Kraken Motorsports. 9th, Marcos Rodriguez for Tomencho Racing. 10th was Emmanuel Gaxella, who we've barely seen all race actually. That was a rather auspicious drive there by Gaxella, rather unlike him. 11th and 12th, Jack Nichols just beating Simon Mellowish across the line, and that was a switcheroo at the last minute as well. And and it appears that wasn't particularly well loved either. Martin Jones, 13th in the Astra, back of the race all race, but he kept it out of the trouble and got some rather nice point haul there. Lauren Evanessi was 14th, just unlapped, and 1 lap down the final finisher was Danny Lubbers after his pit stop. Just to round off the retirements then, Preet Voucher retired on lap 14 when he crashed out into the wall. Even Iglesias disconnected, lap 14 as well. Mohamed Patel for DHR crashed out on lap 12. Scott Giuliano was battered to death with his various cars accident with, who was it, Daniel Beck, and was unable to continue on. Alex Sorchuk had officially an engine failure, but it was rather in the wall. And Daniel Beck was our first retirement on lap 4 because poor old Jeffrey Ruskus didn't even get going. So that was a rather fun race there, Marco.
It was. I told you, total carnage, and it was. I do love when I get right. Well, certainly not towards guys that did retire. I'm sorry for them, but yeah, it's what we can expect from this.
But you kept Marco amused.
Yeah, actually you did. So thank you, drivers.
If you keep Marco happy, then that keeps everyone happy. So
I hope
we just
so.
got. And talking of happy, actually, we've just talking. Actually, Marco, you got a rather fantastic 4th place in the Sim D500 yesterday. So congratulations to you.
Oh well, I didn't even expect to qualify. So, oops.
Snidey does it. But we're just taking a quick break here at the moment while everyone just gets resorted, and we can get Jeffrey Ruskus back into the. That would be rather nice, and that means that we can have some championship action back on. Ha!
Oh, and I'm getting some ships delivered here, so we might be again expecting a great race because yeah, when someone delivers me chips, it might say something.
Now this will be a sprint race. If you don't know the drill for GRC already,
well, it will be this will be
a feature race. That one. I'm sure I do that every week.
40 lap sprint actually, just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you were doing a longer race, this would be a sprint version of that longer race. So there we go. Simon's knowledge rules all. It's 42 laps or 40 minutes.
Yesterday, so for me it's a sprint.
Yes, and it was all behind a pace car. The car in front really was a Honda for the first time in God knows how long. So it was a bit dodge. But never mind.
Just for the record, we were all driving Hondas.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was all in a circle. I didn't know what was going on. But it would go for 42 laps here around the Trois Riveries circuit, or 40 minutes. So 40 minutes will definitely come first because we didn't get anywhere near the 21 laps of the sprint race. Pit stop is mandatory, and I have to say, actually, this is going to be one of the most key races for where you're going to slot your pit stop into. Do you go short, aim for a top qualifying slot, and hope you get the perfect lap, therefore pulling out a big gap overall in the beginning? And then you've got that pit stop to come in, slot yourself into a nice clean piece of air. Do you fill it up like a fat truck, or a fat me, plod around at the back, and then therefore be in prime pickings when it comes in for a quick pit stop at the end? It's very, very open to debate as to what you want to do. I assume everyone will have to pit for tyres to some degree. People might try and go without it. There's only really a few corners around this circuit, but it's again... one of those circuits that it's all 90-degree corners, so you're really hacksawing at your will. So I assume I'll be stopping for tyres. I always stop for tyres. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what's going to go on strategy-wise, because you don't want to be then bottlenecked behind different drivers, because overtaking here is particularly difficult.
Yeah, as well. With this track, it's actually, you're pretty sure that something is gonna happen. You can expect something to happen. What you might do is fill it up and wait to see what happens. If you crash, if you snap a wall in like lap 2 or something, you might want to wait for your pit window and then go in. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen there. Maybe some guy is expecting corners going lower in fuel because he can expect anyway for a wing, for a bumper.
That's really optimistic. I like it. Oh dear. Anyway.
I was like that last week. In a truck stunt.
Well, I'll be cheering on...
in corner 2. Against the back of my brigade corner.
Don't tell everyone.
Sorry.
Anyway. But yes. I'll be secretly cheering on Randy to do the double for Backmarker Brigade and the Meet the Snail. So that's what you get when you have commentators that have vested interests in this league. And if you do actually... Yeah. If you want to take part in this league, which you should do, I urge you. It is your country needs you much better than the various bunch of idiots that are currently all playing Do You Want to Really Play Friends With Me that are leading our country currently at the moment. They're probably going to make me rather redundant, so I'm bitter and I'm going to get my kitty claws out and the bitch tits, and I'm not happy. So, if we're going to
don't talk to me about country problems, we have enough here.
Your country, everyone's busy eating chocolate, but we've got what's the majigs? Oh, we're going through to qualifying.
Hi.
But yeah, pop
It's
along to yummage. Yeah, pop along to rFGRC.co.uk. Sign yourself up on the forums. Get yourself onto Race Control, which is a great little system where you can organise exactly what races you're going to be going for, and come and join in the fun. You have to do 20 races on a what's called a B licence, which is very easy to do because there's nights where you can run 3 or 4 races at a time and get up to your racecraft, and it's a great place for newbies that are coming into sim racing and want a nice professional place to start themselves off, and get to know a good few friends, make great friends here, and a great place as well for veterans who just get comfy in the sofa in the corner and point and laugh at all us slobies crashing. So, plenty of cars out straight away for qualifying actually, in a big long line, which really confuses me because they're all going to surely hold each other up. And who are we going to pick out of that one actually? Let's see who we should go for. Decisions. Oh, Martin Palm hit the wall, actually, in P6, I have to say, coming out of that turn. So that will not have made his qualifying lap. Oh, look, yeah, he's turning the wheel to try and get heat into his tyres, but in doing that, coming out of one of the turns, he actually hit the wall with his rear right tyre. So it'll be interesting to see whether he can actually hold that car on and it will run perfectly fine. Let's stick with Martin Palm in 6th position, actually, just to see what he does. Interesting line through the final corner, but it's worked well for him. And that's Mohammed Patel joining in front of all of these guys. He'd do best to just slow to a halt and let them all through. I'm quite surprised that everyone has gone out in tandem, because you're all, if someone makes a mistake, you're all buggered, to be quite honest. And it's all your own fault. Martin Palm then going round turns 1, 2, and that'd be the dodgy one that took out someone in the previous race. It was also exciting. I forgot who it was. Down the back straight. There you go. They've got Martin Jones up ahead, which he may well catch on his hot lap. So traffic definitely playing a part here at Trois Riveries, and Palm way too deep into that corner, done well to escape the barriers. And that will not help him out at all unless he was able to carry that speed through, which I don't think he was able to do. And down into the final sector, Marco.
Sorry, I was calculating a bit. And Jack Keithley is now on 329, and Jack Nichols will be at 296. So that will be interesting to see where Keithley ends on the next race, because if he has enough, or if he wins the endurance, or wins the long race or feature race, he can actually win the championship here.
Indeed, actually. That could be quite interesting. Good find there, Marco. Alex Sorchuk in 10th position is just about to cross over the line. During that gaggle of cars, Emmanuel Gagzella set the provisional pole with a 107.722, and Sorchuk misses it and goes into 3rd position with a 107.986, just a quarter of a second behind Gagzella, who's currently sitting pretty on pole after an anonymous sprint race. Martin Palm sits 2nd, Sorchuk 3rd, Martinez 4, Melowish 5. I can see someone's bumper in the middle of the track down the straight, actually. Rodriguez 6. That's a good lap there by Melowish, actually, to pop him into 5. Priat Voucher is currently 7. Scott Giuliano having a quiet afternoon at the back in 8th at the moment, but has got himself set up for what will hopefully be a nice point scoring for him. Laurent Evanessi has not completed a lap, yet completed all not completed a time, but has completed all 3 of his laps. So that has been a disaster. Maybe that was whose barrier it was in the middle of the track. Let's see who is out and about. 10th place Eduardo Cunhada has just smacked the wall down the end of the back straight, but has managed to keep it just about going. And let's see what he can do, because he had some sterling pace towards the end of that race of the sprint variety, just about keeping his car legal, barely legal. And, there's a DVD on that, but I'm sure it doesn't star Eduardo. And round the final couple of corners he goes, just about clinging onto that little tank slapper going on. Where will this pop him into? Pole position, a 107.189. That was some immense driving there by Eduardo Cunhada, who's quite obviously got the car set up to swing the back end out. Obviously eggs over easy for that one. Rao Pons pops into 4th position off our screens with a 107.3933. Daniel Beck in 5th, so that's a much better effort by him over his previous form. Stacey Greensall is popping over the line in 16th. Where does he pop into? Oh, he's just starting off his lap. Sorry, mate. Bit too premature.
Keithley warming up for his lap.
Yep, Keithley's on his warm-up lap. Screenshaw's actually on his hot lap, so we'll do him first, and then we'll swap over to Keithley. Marco, the eyes and ears of everyone, and he's got Marco wants a title wrap-up, I'm quite sure.
I want to see if they can sort it here already.
Only so that everyone has a free-for-all in Watkins Glen, I'm quite sure. As Greenshaw comes out of the difficult back-end corner. I've met the barrier many a time, and we've had tea and coffee and biscuits. It's been rather civilised, only
Well,
I don't
I've
have any
rolled it.
wheels to go on.
I've rolled it in the last corner last time, so.
And Greenshaw into the bits. I don't get that. Strange. So
Keep
I
you
think
running
he's
out?
actually. I think Greenshaw was actually. Greenshaw binned it and then went back out thinking that his lap didn't count, and it did. Oops for Stacey. So that'll be back of the grid for him. But yeah, Jack Keithley out on the lap. Teammate Danny Love is right behind. The DHR cars like to do this, and I'm always squeezing my sphincter, thinking that's not a good idea. That's probably an image that no one really wanted to see. Apologies. Anyway, Jack Keithley is on. I'm sorry to the cameraman whose beer has curdled, but Jack Keithley is still on his hot lap. And over to you, Marco, to sort this one through.
There's 8 tenths up on Eduardo, so he won't take the pole, I guess. But I don't know what it is going to be. Eduardo might be light, 7, 8, and 4, third spot for Keithley there. As we have Jeffrey Ruskers normally. Jeffrey Ruskers driving his hot lap at this moment at 23.
Yeah, this will be nice to see exactly where he pops out in his Cadillac and actually have a go, because we don't really. He had good pace in practice, but we've yet to actually see him drive the wheel really with true anger in a session that is meaningful. And this will be the first time that we've had him actually go out and do it. And round the last couple of corners, it's looking quite tidy, just about bumping over that curve, which a lot of drivers like to aim for. Over the line he doth come. Where will he slot in? Down 13th, 1.2 seconds off the pace, so it looked tidy, but wasn't necessarily fast. And I think Ruskus there is gently lining up a nail for that little title challenge to be popped away, I'm afraid. So as even Pons pops into second place, and Eduardo Cañada. And Eduardo Cañada's time is fantastic, a 1:07.189, fastest lap that we've really seen on this track at all. And that just leaves Randin Muru, who's only just actually coming out of the pit box. He's obviously coming out for a showdown to see whether he can do the double. And he's going to keep us all waiting to the last minute. He's got to be quick, actually. He's only got 1.5 minutes to get round the track. He should be all right. But we shall see whether or not he can take the pole. And he's done the right thing. Everyone was a bit... he's down in P20, currently he's showing. But he's done the right thing, because everyone else was so busy blocking each other and getting into all kinds of mischief with traffic early on. If they spread themselves out a little bit, they would have a track all to themselves, like Randu. So... it may have affected one or two people's laps, but Lauren Evanessi and Stacey Greenshaw were unable to actually complete laps, so they must have gone off somewhere. Jack Nichols is also out on a hot lap. I didn't actually notice him down the bottom of our screens. Let's quickly cut to Jack Nichols actually on P24, if we may, for our commentator extraordinaire. Ooh, that's wheels just about nibbling the curb. And in the English Racing Night Crusaders, popping through, and will this be a good lap for him? Nice bump over the final curb. Where will this pop him into? He was down the order in the first one, but that is much better in the second one. B2 for Mr. Jack Nichols, and he will be thoroughly delighted with that. Fantastic turn of form and a fantastic turn of speed for the amiable Englishman. Murray is then down in P21 on his lap.
I guess he's same like me. Or the same like I would if I would be that high.
I've got that madness song, Wings from a Dove, whoa, whoa, in my head now.
Oops.
I did it. Yeah, no Brittany, disgraceful. Randy Muru, 21st position currently on our screens, out on his hot lap. We're doing him a disgusting injustice by mentioning anyone of a pop dirt bag on air while someone is out there performing some rather graceful sim racing. And let's see exactly what he's going to be getting up to round into the last lefty righty twisty turny thingamy bobby final complex, he doesn't use all of the curb that we see other drivers using. He takes a much, much tighter exit, and therefore must be carrying a bit more wing or speed round those kind of corners. Doesn't need to bump over that curb the same direction everyone else does. Will this be good enough? Over the line he comes. No, third position. Still very respectable with a 1:07.556, and not far off what he'd done in the P1. It was just that Kenyatta and Nichols done some rather magical times, and Nichols riposte to everyone with a booyah.
Nico, what are you doing?
But a fantastic pole there for Eduardo Kenyatta. Even Iglesias has come back into the server, so he has missed qualification and will start at the back of the grid. So insult to injury there for Iglesias, but that should provide us with a good bit of entertainment to watch him pop up the order. So Eduardo Kenyatta and Jack Nichols will be our front row for the sprint feature race. Sprint e-feature thingamy-bob, whatever's. Brandon Murray will be third. Even Pons 4, Emmanuel Gaxella 5, Daniel Lubbers 6, Jack Keithley, Martin Palm, Raul Pons and Daniel Beck will round out the top 10. We'll take you through the rest of the grid on when we go around a certain microwave lap.
Well, we haven't we haven't got a retirement already. We haven't got a quit yet, or nobody left yet, so I can't take it further down the grid. But which is Alex Sauchuk on 11th for Stigline Northern Ice, Pablo Martinez for Abu Dhabi, Muhammad Patel for DHR on 13, 14 for Simon Melwish on the DHR BMW, 15 for Marcus Rodriguez on Tawencho Lexus, 16 for Jeffrey Ruskas on the 05 Motorsports Cadillac. Then we have 17th place for Preet Valja on the Torrent Motorsports Lexus. We have 18th place for Scott Giuliano in an ISI Racing Team car, BMW. 19th place Martin Jones with an Astra Corsa car. 20th place Laurent Evenis on an ISI Racing Team. Stacey Greenshaw 21st on the KR3W. And that would be it. No, Ivan Iglesias starting 25th. Starting 22nd then.
He will be indeed. Even Iglesias has just told me he's going to do an Alonso and go for a very early pit stop. So obviously he's thinking, I won't get far up the field because overtaking is so difficult. Iglesias can use the tyres to his advantage. The Cadillac isn't too bad on the tyres. It's not the worst by any means. And Iglesias has that kind of style where he's able to try and hold on with the tyres. So he's going to be pitting early, and then he'll have clean air, hopefully. And for him, at least. He will then start to progress up the field where everyone else is busy in a train holding each other up, possibly getting into kinds of accidents everywhere. Just a couple of minutes then till the start of this feature Racy Poos. And any particular favourites you have for the feature, Mr. Vanden Broeck?
I'm wondering to see what Jack can do, to be honest. I mean, what the hell is he doing? I mean, what? I mean, dang, he's fast today. He is. Really, like, speechless. Sorry.
Well, it'll be nice to see him up the front. He always, I have to say, thank you, Jack, for being...
I guess he's like torturing us for like him being speechless last week at some event. What you all may pretty well know for the Team Sport event. And he's taking us back on that, I guess. We're speechless now. Sorry,
speechless? Jack. Just never. But yes, it's great to see Jack Nichols up there actually, and everyone
loves for him.
Everyone wants a piece of the Nichols, so I'm sure he will be
Come
either distributing
first.
Yeah, everyone will be distributing pieces of him on the podium. Will be distributing pieces of his car in the barriers. It will either be one or the other. You don't get any in between. Jack Nichols' driving is the equivalent of a Marmite sandwich. It's either fantastic or it will be in the wall. So we shall soon find out which of the sides we will prefer.
Hopefully,
Wow.
fingers on eBay.
I have a story about fingers on eBay, but I'll save that for another time as well. I can never tell any of my stories on air. I should.
No.
Never mind. Anyway, moving on quite swiftly. We've got about 20 seconds left to warm up.
Yeah, so 10 seconds until we're going to say something seriously. Well,
Absolutely.
try to.
And the broadcast becomes less than 18 rated. And apologies to all the kiddies out there, but I do have DVDs available for... No, actually I don't. So, we'll be moving forward to a 40-minute lap race. A 40-minute lap race. One of those. And I'm be quite interested to see exactly how it's going on. I think this will be more of a strategic one than an actual I'm going to overtake you one. And therefore, it will please the likes of people like... Tim Kravitz, who seem to get off on exactly what people's strategies are going to be. So, I hope you're watching. And here we go.
Attention, grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Alright, next bet, Simon. Who will bang the wall first?
Oh, we didn't even do our little... Actually, best crash of the sprint race, I have to say, goes to... Daniel Beck. No, Daniel Beck, who then got completely T-boned by poor Scott Giuliano. Closely followed by Preet Voucher. Oh, it's good fun. You should download a replay, have some good fun. My first person who I think will be in the wall, just because fate has it that he's in the wall at all times, will be Simon Mellowish. Sorry, Si. As they go round on the formation lap. Just a quick rundown of the grid. We've already talked you through it, so we'll just do it very quickly. Eduardo Cañada will be on pole with Jack Nichols alongside. Brandon Murray will start third with Evan Pons 4. Emmanuel Gaxella and Danny Lovers will be on row 3. Jack Keithley and Martin Palmer on row 4. And Raoul Pons and Daniel Beck will round out the top 10. Then the second half of the grid will start off with Alex Sawchuk, our admin extraordinaire, and Trackman as well, actually. Oh, the powers, oh, the fun. Pablo Martinez 12, Mohamed Patel 13 with Simon Mellowish 14, 15th to Marcos Rodriguez, 16th Jeffrey Ruskus, and it will be needing to jump on a few Rusks to get through that one. Preet Voucher 17, looking to give me some more entertainment. Scott Giuliano for a rather beaming 18th position, and I do hope that he brings home some points today. 19th for Martin Jones, 20th Lauren Evanessi, who was unable to get a lap in qualifying, as did Stacey Greensall. I went back through the replay. Stacey Greensall did actually bin it on his out lap, and therefore he could not do a complete lap. Evan Iglesias was unable to complete any laps whatsoever because he wasn't actually in the server, and I'm sure he shall be kicking his modem and dropping his dongle and making sure that everything is hunky-diddly for this race. 2 laps or 40 minutes of pure high-octane action coming up.
Lining up. Quick word to our sponsors. We are, of course, sponsored by Ultra Networks, who are providing this race as well. As we forgot to today, it seems. We're too busy talking.
Never mind. We do bow to Ultranet Networks and photobook.co.uk as well. As here we are. The grids are lined up. Oh, yes. And here we go. Lights are on. And we are ready for the feature race at Trois Riveries. Ding, ding, a ding, dong, ding. We're off and away. Eduardo Cañada's off to a good start. Jack Nichols has bogged down, and Evan Pons is alongside into turn 2. Will Nichols hold it? He's got the inside line. He covers it off nicely. Eduardo Cañada there has put daylight between himself and Nichols, who's almost sideways through 2. Pons third, Muru 4, Lubbers and Palm are behind. Everyone else looks like they're cleanly through.
Collecting.
Oh! That's nasty. poor Jack Nichols. Well, it was either going to be one or the other, and Glacius there, Greenstall. Nichols has escaped out because he's stuck in the middle of the circuit. What a disastrous end there for Jack Nichols. What a big shame for what looked like such a great thing. And it really was. He just lost the back end coming out, smacked one way, and it just rebounded him back onto the track, and everyone else just trying to take avoiding action. Martin Palm.
Paul.
Yeah.
Patel. Ruskus. Iglesias. Ivanis. Valja.
And Palm's out.
Oops.
Martin Palm has retired. He tried to get down the back straight. It didn't work at all. And so we've lost Martin Palm. We've lost Jack Nichols. Priya Valja's in the pits. Lauren Evanesi's in the pits. Martin Jones is continuing on just about. So just a couple of people pitting. Everyone else deciding to soldier on. So your order then, after all that, Eduardo Cañada on lap 2 leads by 3.3 seconds from Even Pons second, Brandon Muru third, Pablo Martinez 4, Danny Lubbers 5, Jack Keithley 6, Alex Sorchuk 7, Mohamed Patel is 8, and we should join that because he's got Rao Pons all over his gearbox, looking left, looking right, sensing where to go for the move. And what's he going to do down into that? And Patel there almost being boxed in by Sorchuk, and Pons is out. Pons is out into the wall there. That was one outbreak too many for Rao Pons, and everyone's gone a little bit Lady Gaga down into these corners. Not quite the clean action that we saw before. Emmanuel Gaxella's in trouble somewhere as well because he has dropped down to 17th. I think Gaxella and Martinez have come together because Gaxella's car looks evil and he was running around the same place as Martinez, and Gaxella in 17th is spinning.
I was actually quite wondered at the start because Pablo Martinez passed 4 BMWs at the start. I have to say again, 4 BMWs with a Volvo. I mean, big applause to him because BMWs are just start extra fast on starts there. So big hats off to them.
Well, Emmanuel Gaxella, just taking a look at the replay, where Rao Pons was busy crashing it off, everyone kind of piled in behind, and Gaxella saw everyone, tried to break it, and actually speared off into the barriers on the straight, went out of control into the pile-in that went on behind with Sorchuk, Patel, Melowish, Ruskus and Giuliano and co. And, well, everyone, I think, almost, apart from Cañada, has got some kind of damage, I think, going on. Quick rundown of the order as Cañada starts lap 3. My goodness, this is... I've not seen so much fun on a track in this nature from Destruction Derby.
My 2 wars at the beginning of the day.
Oh yes, Cyclic
Carnage
Marco's
on race 1 and Total Carnage on race 2.
Cyclic Marco strikes again. Eduardo Cañada is in first position. Even Pons is in second position currently at the moment, 3.6 seconds behind. There's a massive gap back to third with Randu Muri, 6.2 off. Pablo Martinez is 4. Danny Lubbers is in 5 at the moment, keeping a watching brief, and Martinez's car looks a little bit war wounded, so that's that. Jack Keithley has got a little trio, or leading a trio. He's got Alex Sorchuk, Mohamed Patel and Simon Melowish up into 9th position. That's great, good stuff for Simon Melowish. Hopefully that will stay true for him. And that's probably the best action that we've got on track at the moment, but I'll keep running down the order while you watch that. Jeffrey Ruskus is... no. That's very early, actually. Keithley in from 9th position. He's dropped to now. So... tactical, I wonder.
Get involved in anyone's crashes. So he's putting it now, waiting until so he can lap around quickly and as hard as he can. Just waiting for the other guys to pit, coming up behind him instead of in front of him. And if anything goes wrong on anyone, he won't be in that trouble.
Yeah, it's been a relatively quick stop there for Keithley. He's back out in 16th position. So let's see what that does to everyone else as we should look at... Well, that has released the Sorchuk, Melowish and Patel battle for 6th, 7th and 8th. And Melowish and Patel side by side, 7 and 8, this is, as Mohammed has he's got the inside line for the corner, but Melowish closes that off quite nicely indeed. And very wide there for Patel. I can hear skidding going on behind. I think that's with Giuliano and Ruskus for 9 and 10, but they're both all pointing in the same direction, so that's good stuff. And much closer action this time by for Sawchuk, Melowish and Patel. And just behind them, Giuliano is 9, Ruskus 10, and Glacius up to 11. Now, he was contemplating an early stop. I assume he adjusted his fuel for that. Priya Valja is out of the race with suspension failure as well. I forgot to add.
Patel's going to make a move now that he has. Melowish damaged on the front bumper, seems. Patel making a move, not sticking it. He's waiting for a mistake from Melowish, and there goes Melowish with mistake. I told you. Patel goes alongside, up to turn, whatever, up to the next turn. They touch, and where is Melowish? Patel going right. Don't hit the wall there. There we go. That's not gonna work around the outside.
Synchronised bump and grind by the two of those.
Patel going for it now, then? No. Inside, outside. What are you going to choose, mate? There you go. Inside. Nothing. Okay, that will be for next up, I guess.
Okay, so Jeffrey Ruskus is in the pits in 15th position currently at the moment, so he's the next man that's decided that he wants to pit. So both of the championship rivals, and Keithley's just driving past, so obviously big gap between the pair of them as Ruskus is leaving the pits. So Keithley remains ahead of Jeffrey Ruskus. They have both pitted down in 15th and 16th places, the last two running. Laurent Evanessi has retired with an engine failure on lap 5, so I wonder if he's binned it in the wall and then the engine's just blown, and he has left the game. Let me just take you on a quick rundown of the order then currently at the moment. On lap 7 as Kenyatta crosses the line, he leads by 3.1 seconds. Pond is second.
Sorry there.
No, go for it, Marco.
Melowish making a mistake. Sawchuk passing by. I guess that was one of the last corners. I guess we have visitors in this week. That would be Jack Nichols.
Yeah, we've got Jack Nichols in with us now as Marcos Rodriguez has just crashed out. We've just missed a move as well where Patel has gone off slightly and Giuliano has taken 8th position. Jack! Poor you! Poor Jack.
Second place. What? We were all happy about you, and it was just. Let's say you got through it all the way.
Well, it's not really poor. It's more stupid, retarded Jack, to be honest. I've just posted a large apology on the forum, so to save going through all that again, if you were affected in that first lap instance, just have a read of the forum.
Just tell the guys who gas pedal was stuck.
No worries, Jack, but it was looking good while it lasted, and that was a great lap for second position on the grid. Did you feel
corners, Simon?
But it lasted! It's lasted! There's nothing wrong with lasting 2 corners. Some people can't even get that far. So, but it was still good pace, and that's the first time that we've really seen you back up the front for quite a while. So there is hope for Watkins Glen, surely?
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to Watkins Glen because there are walls there, but they're not quite as close to the track. So no, it was good to be back. It's because all my exams are finished and that's all finished, so I actually have time to test now, I guess. But no, it's good to be first time I've been back up the front really since Adelaide last season.
Just while you're watching on track. Sorry to interrupt, Marco. Just while you're watching on track, Pablo Martinez in 11th position has completely deranged. He's got a puncture and is limping around the track with his lights on, but he is going to make it back for repairs, I think, for Pablo, which is a shame because he was running fantastically in 5th position at the time. Yes, fingers crossed for your exams, Jack, actually. And have you got any last words of wisdom for anyone around this Trois Riveries circuit?
Yeah, Pablo Martinez did exactly what I did. He just clipped the wall on the exit of turn 3.
See, everyone does it. Well,
No, I was,
thank you very much.
I was just really annoyed because I was full on fuel, had absolutely full fuel. It could have taken. Oh well. I'm sorry to everyone who I affected in that race.
Well, it was big, brave, and noble of you to come in here and say so. And we still love you. Oh, man hug. And all that stuff. Actually, no, maybe not. But yes, thank you very much for coming in, Jack. And best of luck for Watkins Glen for our season finale. And look forward to seeing you there.
Enjoy the rest of the race, guys.
Yes, Jack, and thanks for giving us a award, of course, and see you next week, I guess.
Okay.
Bye.
Tutty bye-bye. Eduardo Cunhada then still holds off the lead by just 2.3 seconds now, so the gap has closed between himself and Even Pons, where they've had to negotiate some traffic and just general carnage and pieces of bodywork. Pons then still very much clinging on. Then you've got Random Muru in third, 6.5 seconds down. Danny Lubbers is in 4, and he has been reeled in by Alex Sorchuk in 5, and those two are relatively close on track. Simon Melowish is coming along for the ride in 6th position, and this is looking rather promising for the English Racing Knight Templar driver. I daren't say too much because last time I got all excited about Simon Melowish's driving, he promptly popped it in the wall, so I daren't. Ooh, and there he is doing a little skidderoo. Mohamed Patel has moved up into 7th, just ahead of Even Iglesias, who is now in 8th, and he has not pitted. So I wonder if he fueled himself up fully for the whole race and was just deciding when to pit to do his mandatory stop, and that would be it. So now that all this carnage has happened and he's quite easily come up the field, this has played into his hands, and he maybe didn't need to pit quite so early as what he thought. Stacey Greenstall is 9, Martin Jones up into 10 in the Astra. That's good stuff by Martin, and he'll be pleased with that, I'm quite sure. Daniel Beck in 11th, so he must be scathed somewhere because he was going, well, look at his front bumper in 11th, not looking too handy. 12th is Jack Keithley. Gradually clearing in, and he's pulled out a 5-second exactly advantage over Jeffrey Ruskus in 13th. Then 1 lap down is Scott Giuliano, and Giuliano is just ahead of Pablo Martinez, who is the final runner in 15th, also 1 lap down, and those two are battling for position and are about to be lapped by Randu Muru. And I imagine that because those two are busy battling position, as someone's tumbling down the order, it's Mohamed Patel in 9th position, and he's had an interesting encounter with the barrier, looking at that debris.
Oh! Oops. How has he done that?
It's that faithful old tyre wall down at the end of the back straight, just in too deep, slid straight into the wall. It looks like he's run out of steam, and that is another one gone. He's flashing his lights. I don't know if he thinks that he may be able to get going again. He must be trying every...
No, that was a hard one. That must have. I hear no engine sound running anymore, so after the crash, so I guess he's out for today.
He is indeed. He has retired from 13th position. So that now brings us down to just the 14 14 runners. We've had 8 retirements then out of the 22 that started. So definitely race of attrition, and if you can just even back off and come home and score, you will grab a fistful of points today. And still only our 2 championship leaders are the 2 who have pitted, apart from Giuliano and Martinez, who are both a lap down, and that was for damage. Only Keithley and Ruskus, the scheduled pitters so far, and they are dropping back still from Cunhada.
They're gaining on Cunhada, because Jack was like 43 last time, I guess.
Yeah, he's bucked the trend on the last lap. My apologies. Simon is a blonde Essex boy. Battle for 4th position is hotting up though. Danny Lubbers in a DHR Simcraft has got Alex Sorchuk, and Simon Melowish has joined on to this to make this a feisty trio. So it's a BMW Lexus versus BMW. and Lubbers saw Chuck Mellowish. 3 different teams as well, DHR Stigline and English Racing Knights, and a lot of pride at stake for these guys. As all Mellowish there.
Whoa. Sorry.
No, you go right ahead, Margo. As they continue on.
No pressure anymore, please. Oh, there we go. Oh, oops.
Lubbers' lights are on, however, so he's pitting, and there he is peeling off, and that releases Sawchuck and Mellowish, who were gaining and were faster than Lubbers. So that will release them and continue to pull away from Inglesias and Greensall. So it'll be interesting to see where Lubbers comes out, actually. Should come out, in theory, behind the Ruskus and Keithley duo, as Eduardo Cunhada is also in. So that hands the lead to Evan Pons, who's got 4-second advantage over Randy Murray. And where will Cunhada come out in relation to Keithley, actually? Keithley's coming out of the final turn. Cunhada in 9th place is just rejoining the track. There is Keithley. This is for position down into turn 1. Who's going to get it? Keithley's got much better momentum. Cunhada crosses across, takes his racing line. If he can just hold it down this back straight until his tyres are up to decent temperature, he is still effectively holding the lead from Jack Keithley. Round the next turn, just about holding on. Keithley is keeping a watching brief, and down the back straight, this is going to be the best chance for Keithley to do it while Cunhada's tyres are cold. Can he position himself well? Ruskus there you can just see in the very distant background. And Simon Mellowish is in the pits as well from 6th position. So they're all starting to pit in now. Lap 15 of 42 so far.
I wonder if Jack is doing some tyre management there, because we saw in a couple of races with these types of tracks, short tracks, where Jack was like tyre management and just popping up just at the last of the race.
Don't see why not, actually. It's because he's here to collect the points. He's got his main rival Ruskus behind him as Cunhada in 7th position actually touches the wall. So Cunhada is really being pushed by Keithley. Either that or because his tyres aren't quite up to scratch, things aren't feeling quite right for the Kraken Motorsports driver. Simon Mellowish.
Cunhada probably thinks that Keithley's faster, because anyway, when you're driving in front of the championship leader, it's always going to give some more pressure on the driver. So yeah, might be if Jack keeps pushing Cunhada. Cunhada, I've seen them make mistakes before, so.
Indeed, he has led races. I remember him leading, I think it was, what was the evil track with all the chicanes? Verano, I think it was. He was up top. He was up top in one of the races, and he's shown that he can be a front runner. It's just whether or not he can do it and stay consistent and hold and soak up the pressure like a sponge for the rest of this race, although he is putting distance now between himself and Keithley, so it's working out well. They're 40 seconds behind even Pons, so that means that they would both leapfrog him in terms of pit stops if Pons pitted now. However, Ruskus may well not, because he is a further 4.5 to 5 seconds behind, and he's just popped a lap on Daniel Beck, and that was why he had a poor lap behind. There's a good battle going on for 12th and 13th, interestingly, between Scott Giuliano and Pablo Martinez. Now, last lap by, they were side by side into turn 1, and Giuliano held him off.
Scott clipping the wall, Martinez almost in. Watch that rear bumper, Pablo. To turn 3. Not too far. Pablo isn't gonna get enough speed there with his Volvo.
What I find quite interesting about that battle is that since Randy Muru has lapped them, which was about about 4 or 5 laps ago, they've not dropped off the back of him, so it's just purely down to damage that these two are a lap down. So it's been it's another unfortunate one there, but they're both still in the running, and being in 12th and 13th positions after what has been a damage-affected run is by no means a bad achievement at all. Still 11 cars on the lead lap. Danny Lubb was the last of those, and it's really the top 6 haven't pitted, which is Pons, Muru, Sawchuk, Iglesias, Greensall and Jones. Then you've got the pitters of Kenyatta, Keithley, Ruskus, Melowish and Lubbers, and then your lapped cars who had damage early on, and that was Giuliano, Martinez and Beck.
As we're looking for a close battle now, and we don't have any at the moment.
Yeah, I'm looking at the timings actually between the different drivers who have and haven't pitted. I mean, we've only got 14 drivers remaining, so they're not all close contact to each other on the track at the moment. But what's interesting is that Eduardo Kenyatta took out an entire second in the last lap over Yvonne Pons. So he's now 39.1 seconds behind, and that is, he's pulling away from Jack Keithley, who is nibbling in at 4 to 5 tenths of a second a lap into Pons. So that is going to push them potentially into a 1-2 situation. Pons is into the pits. He is now dropped down into second position, so this will confirm exactly where he comes out. Ruskus is 43 seconds behind him, and that could be touch and go for whether Ruskus gets through or not, and Pons may take the position, or hold the position rather. Pons there exiting the pits. Sawchuk and Iglesias and Greensall have already gone through.
Only fuel there, I guess, on Pons. 8 seconds. Tires, with tires, it must be 20 or something like that.
And by doing that, he's leapfrogged a lot of them. There you can see Pons comes out ahead of Eduardo Kenyatta. That is a good eye there, Marco. Touché. And he keeps 5th position. Kenyatta is in 6th. Keithley 7. Ruskus moves up to 8. Melowish to 9. Martin Jones in the Astra is just coming down pit road. He's pitted in 10th. So
can you make a mistake in the third? Oh, that was close. Sorry.
You need to
So I look up at the inside of turn 3 and I was like an awful lot of smoke, and I thought he clipped it, so.
Also, just off your screens, actually, Pablo Martinez in 13th clipped the final curb and went up onto 2 wheels and was very lucky he didn't roll. I didn't expect people to be rolling their cars around Trois Riveries, so well done, Pablo, for the attempt of it. Randy Murray then currently leads by 10 seconds from Alex Sawchuk. Even Iglesias is now 12 seconds behind in 3rd, with Stacey Greensall 13 behind in 4. Those two are really the closest 2 on track, Iglesias versus Greensall. And Greensall has been keeping a watching brief on Iglesias. Iglesias, for all his sayings of "I'm pitting early," has not pitted it at all. I promise he did private message me that. Obviously, the Nichols does tyre wall incident has changed the entire perspective of his strategy for the race. So he's been thinking on the fly, and it's working out quite nicely for Even, I have to say.
Yeah, probably. Start because that guy with Jack Nichols, he just swept by, and I think he just thought, I'm just gonna step on it, try to enlarge the gap, say go with the others, try to enlarge the gap, and see that I can make a late pit stop so that I can come out in front of others and battle my way through that with a better set of tires and a little and maybe a shorter pit stop for less fuel.
Sagey. So just looking at the different times now, Even Pons is 30 seconds clear of Muru, so even if Muru didn't stop the tyres, he's still going to come out behind Pons. Eduardo Kenyatta is 3.3 seconds behind Even Pons, and the gap is kind of stable, it has to be said, but it's all going to be down now to whether Even Pons can tyre manage himself and make sure that the tyres are still there towards the end. And if they're not, how defensive can his driving be? So it really has taken a strategical turn on its head. They have pulled away.
And he clips the wall, Oh, that's not good. Sorry there.
Even Pons, 5th position. Smackaroo into the wall. This is Eduardo Cañada's chance. Can he? What can he do? Can he?
There. That was the tire problem. Cañada taking it, flipping the wall again. Sorry. Going through the last corner. Cañada takes a better line of it. Going to turn 1. Making the step stream. Inside, outside. He has to take the inside. He waits. Turn 2. He slings it up to the outside, making a better line outside. And he doesn't go for it seems. Waiting for a safe spot to overtake, I guess. And now we should go for it. This turn 4 here is a safe corner to overtake. As he does it, goes alongside. Not at breaking himself either, so almost clipped the wall there.
Well, Eduardo Cañada there was so late on the brakes, you could see his car squeaming and wiggling about from side to side. He was really on the limit, and he's right behind. Cañada needs to reel it in ever so slightly. He's obviously getting these quick laps because he's driving absolutely on the knife edge, but when you're right up behind someone, he just needs to back it off a little smidgy tad. He's obviously trying to pressure Pons into another mistake, but Pons is soaking up all of his energy currently at the moment, and Cañada just needs to hold back for a couple of corners so then he can make an absolute blast out of turn 3 onto the back straight. And
again, he's got a better line again. Going to the back straight, and he accelerates, slipstreaming. Cadillac is a little slower, so he needs the slipstream. He needs a long line for that Cadillac. There he goes. Take the outside. No, he takes the inside. There he goes. I'll break it. No. Yes. And he takes it. No, he cuts it.
Oh!
Oh, I'm caught in the wall. Oh my god. Jack Keithley coming up behind.
I have to say, actually, for the two, for Eduardo and Ivan, that was about as civilised as it was ever going to be down into that corner, and they did well to manage that. When they touched each other, they then hit the barrier and not the actual tyre wall, because he'd have rebounded back onto the track, and that's what Raoul Pons done earlier on. So interesting stuff there, but Cañada takes the position. He's up into 5th. If he can just get the teeny tiniest bit of daylight between himself and Pons, he will be laughing, because Pons is only going to get slower. Behind, Pablo Martinez has just taken Scott Giuliano in the wall in 13th.
Himself again. Turn 3. Pons in the slipstream now. Can we take the slipstream? We can't.
What they've also done with this, quite interestingly, is drop 5 seconds to Randu Muru, because they're so busy battling each other, and if Muru decides not to take on tyres, he will leapfrog the pair of them and take the potential P1.
Also, Jack Keithley is running up behind, and he is now seeing them battle, and he is seeing them losing time. So Jack Keithley will be behind as we're wanting to rub his hands together and like I'm gonna snatch those off. Well, he's wanting to snap those hands together because he can't on this track. Sorry.
Well, Cañada has now pulled out a tiny margin over Pons, so we'll just give you a quick rundown of the order just so that you know exactly where everyone is currently at the moment and what their pit strategy is. Randy Murray currently leads. He has not stopped on lap 26 of 42. 73% of your race time distance as well. We're not going to take the full 42 laps by the looks of it. Second is Alex Sawchuk, 12 seconds back. Stacey Greenstall is still right on his tail, just 1.4 seconds behind in third. Even Iglesias is fourth. None of those four have pitted, and they all still have to pit. Eduardo Cañada is top non-pitter, 34.9 seconds off the pace in fifth. Pons is sixth. Keithley is 7, just a further 4 seconds back from that battle. Ruskus is a further 5 back in 8. Melowish is a further 6 seconds back in 9. Then 1 lap down is Danny Lubbers in 10. Martin Jones 11 in the Astra, doing a great race. Pablo Martinez 12. and Scott Giuliano 13th, who's just had an off and lost 12th Martinez. Daniel Beck is our final runner, also 1 lap down in 14th. They're your runners and riders currently so far.
As well, we have the retirements quite a lot today. We have Mohammed Patel retired with suspension failure. Marcus Rodriguez with an accident. Laurent Evenes with an engine failure as well, an accident. I'm not going to call that anymore because accidents anyway. Kexela, Palja, Bounce, the Raoul one even. Martin Palm, and unfortunately Jack Nichols.
Yep, the elegy of our retirements of today. So not great stuff for them. So it's just we've got to see and wait exactly when Randy Muru is going to pit, because if he pits and gets out of the way now,
well, the award for the best crash will go to Jack anyway. So.
most carnage. But yeah,
sorry,
if
you look at it, it's
if I was Muru, I'd
give the best television.
If I was Randy Muru, I'd go yoink into the pits right now, because Eduardo Cunhada is losing time now to Even Pons. He's now 36 seconds. Eduardo Cunhada is losing time to Randy Muru. The gap is now 35.7 seconds. It was 36. So obviously, whatever incident that Cunhada's just had, he's now getting back over. But that is enough time to get in and out without changing your tyres and still keep the position. He's got no threats behind from Sawchuk and Greensall, who are busy battling together quite hard for second and third. They're the closest duo on track at the moment, and they've been going at each other's throats since lap 1, turn 1, by my knowledge, and it's still not sorted, so they'll be haven't spilt milk over it. As Even Iglesias from 4th position, now down to 5th, has pitted, so he is the first of our quartet in, and so much for early pit stop. Even that was supposed to be my little coupe. So where does Iglesias feed back in again? Very quick stop. There's Simon Melowish coming down the pit straight. Going to be side-by-side action into turn 1. Who's going to get the position? Melowish has the momentum. Iglesias cuts across. There's contact between the two. Melowish just about holding on. Iglesias nearly four-wheel drifting into 2. Just about holds the position. Can he keep it together with the cold tyres, or will Melowish punish him down in the back straight into the final turn? It's all going to catch. It's all going to be catch and play down here. Melowish into the slipstream. Is he going to pull out to the left? Yes, he is. Might be a bit too early for that, but he's got the inside line. Who's going to be last of the late breakers? Iglesias on the left, Melowish on the right. Melowish is going for it. Iglesias pulls across. Just about clings onto the position. Great car control to make sure that didn't go into the wall. And he holds the position just for now. As Stacey Greensall is in the pits from what was 3rd position, now down to 4. Another one in. Eduardo Cunhada moves up to 3rd. Pons into 4. Keithley is going to take 5th. And Stacey Greensall is going to separate Keithley and Ruskus. And that is key for the championship, because that is one more car, and therefore another couple of points difference between Keithley and Ruskus, and that is going to give Keithley much more confidence and momentum into the final round of Watkins Glen. The championships doesn't look like it's going to be resolved here, but it's certainly going to go much more to Keithley's favour after this round has been completed. Randy Murray is in though from the lead. Let's see what he is. He's just and Sawchuk is in as well. Murray is just exiting the pits from P1. I've got my eye on Eduardo Cunhada. He is just approaching the turn before that pits, and Murray was one of the first boxes in, so he's trundling down the pit road. Please, can that be a trundle a little bit faster? As he comes out, I heard someone pass through. Oh, it was Scott Giuliano. Here comes Randy Murray. He's out, still in the lead. And there is Eduardo Cunhada coming down the straight. Muru takes the lead and regains or stays in the lead. Cunhada moves through to 2nd. Pons into 3rd. Sawchuk up into 4th. That is a coupe for him. That pit stop strategy has worked out perfectly for him. Keithley stays 5th. Greensall is in 6th. Ruskus 7th. In fact, Sawchuk there gained an awful lot of time over Greensall in the pits. So interesting and good pit crew strategy from Sawchuk, because that has effectively leapt him front of Keithley, and that's a very good net win there for Sawchuk. So your order then, after the pit stops, Randy Muru leads by 4.7 seconds while he gets his tyres up to temperature. Kenyatta is second, Pons is third, and maybe that's starting to hurt for him now, because he's dropped 5 seconds behind Kenyatta, and with Sawchuk and Keithley, Ruskus is into 7. Mellowish and Iglesias are 8 and 9 side by side, so they've obviously not finished with each other. Lubbers is 10, Martin Jones 11, Martinez is 12th, and now unlapped, so it's worked out well for him. Giuliano is also now unlapped 13th, and Beck still one lap down 14, our final runner and rider. And Iglesias' car looking a little bit worse for wear, so I wonder if there was contact between Mellowish and Iglesias over the battle for 8th and 9th positions. But still, this is looking like a good points haul for Mellowish at long last, well overdue for a good result. So let's see where the best action is on track. We're on the final 10% of our race distance, so only about 2 to 3 laps tops to go for our leaders, and Randy's timed that one to perfections.
Just
Kenyatta,
don't make mistake.
no, but Kenyatta is eating into his advantage. The gap now down to 3.7 seconds. Kenyatta obviously pitting. Well, he didn't. Yes, he did pit for tyres, didn't he? ConfusedSimon.com, and this is obviously now going to pay in dividends as he crosses the line. The gap was 3.7. It is now down to 3.6, so not quite the eating that he was hoping for, but it's still eating in, and he's got 2 laps to see what he can do, basically, because we're at 93% race distance now. Even Pons, no riposte at all in third. He's actually been caught by Sawchuk and Keithley. Again, the gap between them are 3 seconds. So just last little minute clear-ups of this race at Trois Riveries, which has seen much carnage and much fun for everyone. And don't forget, we'll be doing it all again next Monday with the Division 2 guys.
Well, yeah, let's skip the popcorn.
Less carnage, more results.
Well, you don't have to skip the carnage, you just have to skip us from the carnage, isn't it?
Get out of jail free card. So, what's been your opinion of the race then today, Marco? Good results, looking like it's coming out for Randy Muru, who's currently leading for the and looking set for the duo of wins, which would be fantastic. But your opinions of today, Marco?
As far as this race is gone, and as far as this race is going, I ain't making an opinion yet, because if it ain't finished, it's gonna be.
It ain't over till it's over.
Something. I feel something's gonna happen. And there you have it. Jack Keithley, right up on the back of Sawchuk for 4th place. I just said it.
And Daniel Beck has just crashed out on the very last, or second last lap, so that's unfortunate there for Daniel Beck. So that leaves us with just 13 runners and riders. And yet Keithley fancies one more car between himself and Ruskus, because he knows that that's one less pressure that he has to deal with next time by. And we're on to the last lap now, I would imagine, at this Trois Riveries circuit as Muru crosses the line. Yep, to start what will be his last lap. So Keithley has basically about 2 shots at this. Otherwise, it is game over and he will stay in 5th position. Down into turn 1. Not quite close enough there for Keithley, sitting in 5th position. Sawchuk ahead of him is in 4th. Lexus versus BMW will stay with them down through the back straight and into that prestigious corner of the corner of carnage. Down with the tyre barrier.
Yeah,
from hell.
there we go. Check. Come on, Jack. Go on. Slipstream, left, right. Sorry, Simon, I'm just too exciting. What's gonna make it? He's gonna keep it safe.
Yeah, he is, but Sawchuk's very deep into the corner, but it's not going to work out for him. He's not got the right places to go. Can he
I'm
make it
praying
into the
for
corner?
this
No, he
to
doesn't.
good.
Let's come to Brandon Muru. He's our P1 man, and he's going to cross the line to get. Shush. Brandon Muru wins.
Keithley takes it. Keithley,
Oh.
Keithley. No. Crenshaw. No.
I don't care. Marco, you're going to get the mute button. Brandon Muru's won. Shut up. Brandon Muru wins the feature race. Don't shine my team's glory. Brandon Muru wins the feature race.
Congratulations,
Yay.
Si.
35 laps were completed. A 40-minute race came first by 2 seconds in the end by Eduardo Cañada. So Cañada did not give up at all. Second place went to Eduardo Cañada after a very spirited drive early on. Just outfoxed on the strategy. He went for tyres and he couldn't make the difference. Even Pons, third position. Fantastic stuff for him. Alex Sawchuk grabs fourth place just about from Jack Keithley, who did not take that position in the end. Stacey Greensall was right behind in sixth position, waiting for them to make a ham-fisted job of it and yoink the places, but it didn't happen, and Stacey stays in sixth. Jeffrey Ruskus comes home seventh then, so that was a shame for that. Simon Melowish, eighth position. Hey, that'll be a popular result for the East English Racing Night Templars cars, and he's actually the top English Racing Night car today, so hats off to you, Si. Ninth, Danny Lovers in the top, in the second of the DHR Simcraft cars. He was he was there or thereabouts, but just didn't quite get the brakes. 10th went to Martin Jones in the Astra, so that's a great result for Martin Jones in what is the sole Astra this year, so doing very well indeed for him. 11th, Ivan Iglesias lost out at the last minute there to Melowish and dropped down the order. Ended up 11th, 49 seconds off the pace. Pablo Martinez, 12th, 59 seconds off the pace. Scott Giuliano, well done for him to score some valuable points, and I'm sure they'll be dedicated to his late father in 13th. He was the final runner, still on the lead lap, and just 1 minute 5 off the pace. Your retirements today: Daniel Beck, suspension failure, lap 31. Mohamed Tell in the wall, lap 11. Rodriguez, crash, lap 6. Evanessi, crash and then blew his engine, lap 5. And then your various problems at the very start with Gagzella, Voucher, Raul Pons, Martin Palmer, and of course Jack Nichols out on the spot. And that brings us to a close of the Ultranet Network's Division 1 GRC Championship here at Trois Riveries. Don't forget to join us in a whole week time. Next Monday, where you get to see Marco, our cameraman Gary Gray, who we must congratulate and bow to for his expertise, and to myself for probably ham-fisting it into the wall at some point. And then don't forget to join these guys in 2 weeks' time again at Watkins Glen for what promises to be a fantastic finale event, Marco.
Yeah, a good point here is Jack Keithley only needs 9 points advantage in the sprint race next in Watkins, and he'll take the victory there. Yeah, so only 9 plays and or 9 points next race, and he has championship at
There we go. So
feature race.
So that would be So a ninth, 9 points is a 12th place in the sprint race and stuff like that. So he doesn't really have to do much, but it's just when the pressure is on, it can all go boo-boo up. So come and join us.
Advantage, so there needs to be
a 9 place advantage.
Need to be a few people between them.
Excellent stuff. We've been joined in the commentary booth there by Simon Melowish for what is finally a decent, well-deserved and well overdue result for you, Si. Well done. Talk us through it.
I don't know if it's well-deserved, because on lap 2 I killed 2 cars.
Well, we won't mention that. What about everything else?
Everything else was alright. I pitted about half distance to get some clean air, and it worked out. I was doing 107s for ages, then Ivan came out and held me up for a while. Then I went around the outside of him after the back straight, and it felt like he tried to ram me into the wall, but I'll have to check that just in case he didn't. And the rest of it was on my own again, so pretty boring 8th place.
But pretty boring 8th place is plenty of points for you to ascent up the championship order ever so slightly. What are you thinking on Watkins Glen? Do you think you'll be able to be towards the front again there?
Watkins Glen's sort of like Essington, and I was pretty good at Essington, so I guess I'll have a good result unless I don't stuff it.
Oh, now there's an ask. Oh dear. And what's been your kind of opinion on Season 8 as a whole? Because it's been quite a topsy-turvy rollercoaster ride for you in Season 8. But now that we're coming to the end of it, what's been your kind of overall feeling of it all?
Well, I started out in a Lexus, and that was about as much use as a chocolate fireguard, and the BMW's been great, but I've had no luck in it.
And, well, not to worry. One more race to go, and then it's all over, and you can start to prepare for Season 9. I hope you'll be back for that, and causing us much entertainment and giggles. And Simon, of course, does the cameras for our Division 2 race, so he's multi-talented and multi-dexterous. So thank you very much for joining us in the commentary booth today, Si.
Thank you.
And we also have Eduardo Cañada in, who was rather dazzling with your pace today. Congratulations on a fantastic second in the feature race, and a rather spasmogorical pole position as well. Talk us through that, Eduardo. Good stuff.
Thanks. Well, I was really surprised after the qualification because I decided to make a special strategy with not a lot of fuel to make a good quali, but I didn't think I was going to make the pole. So, well, I started first. I was really concentrated all the race long, and it's a pity because I lost a few seconds fighting with Ivan Pons, and that time is what I needed to pass Rando. But the second place is good. It's good. I am happy.
And so you can't turn your nose up at a second place. Did you go for tyres in your stop? Because that might have been the pivotal moment of it.
Yeah, I changed tires.
So I don't think other people did. No, I don't think Ivan and Randu didn't, because that's how they leapfrogged you. So, but that gave you good stuff at the end, I suppose. Marco, sorry, you wanted to drop in a question.
Yeah, well, Eduardo, you were up there in the lead. Well, we saw Jack gave his excuses and he came and apologized himself. We're not too worried about him. He just lost it, and yeah, it's his thing. But you were up in the front there, and you were probably hearing it and watching in your mirrors. I was like, oh my god, this is a birthday present. What did you think back there, mate?
Well, I was thinking about the race. I was concentrated. I wasn't thinking about, oh, I'm first, I'm gonna crash. No, I was concentrated. The thing is that I didn't have time to train for this race, so my training was the first race. That's why I was not so fast in the first one.
Yeah, so you must have seen Jack spun. Jack clipped the wall there.
Yeah, I saw him.
The first part of the second race, I mean.
Yeah, I think we both got in that turn out braking. I think it's how it's said. And I could avoid the wall, but he spun, and I think he collected all the grid. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah. No. Well, thank you very much for coming in, Eduardo. You've got what's been your kind of general opinion on Season 8, actually, because you've had some fantastic results, and then some not so fantastic results, but we won't talk about them. What's been your kind of overall review of Season 8 before we sign off?
Well, I think it was really, really good. One of the best championship I've ever been in, because the circuits were really good, the variety, and yes, I think it was really fun.
Excellent. But that's what we're all here for. A bit of fun and a couple of giggles
course.
and maybe a few crashes, and if you're lucky, a win. But that brings us to the close. Thank you very much, Eduardo, for coming in and talking to us. It's always great to have different drivers popping in, saying hello, and everyone's most welcome to do so. That's about it today for the Ultranet Networks Division 1 GRC Championship at Trois Riveries. Join us for next Monday for the Division 2 race, and then join us again for 2 weeks' time for the Division 1 Season 8 finale, where everyone will be letting their hair down in party mood season, looking for a decent result, and maybe even a after-party shambolic beer as well.
For next week's race, we should actually, all these people coming up with 3D glasses and all stuff like that, we should have a camera ready and have a 3D screen on it and see how people can see how cars can have cars smack a wall in 3D. Sorry, I'm just getting too happy with all the carnage. I shouldn't be.
Well, while Marco reenacts the film Crash, we shall sign off for you this evening. My name's been Simon Smith. I've been joined in the commentary booth by Marco van den Broek. We've had the wonderful Gary Gray, as ever, on cameras, and I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. Take care of yourselves, enjoy the summer weather, and we shall see you all soon. Take care, bye-bye.